The most highly anticipated class mod is now in Baldur's Gate 3's mod manager with the Blood Hunter class mod by LemonsSoup based on the homebrewed class by Matt Mercer, who voices Minsk in Baldur's Gate 3. Now, you get blood curses, crimson rites. They basically debuff your character to apply more damage. You can kind of think of this class as if it's like a Van Helsing or Geralt the Witcher type monster slayer. It comes with 4 different subclasses between the Ghostslayer, Lycan, Profane Soul, which is like a diet version of the Warlock, and the Mutant, which you can imagine is somewhat kind of like Geralt the Witcher. Now, I'll be breaking down the different abilities that come with this class mod, and I must say, this class mod is actually very well balanced. It is the Blood Hunter in tabletop D&D is a little bit weaker than some of the other classes like the Fighter and the Sorcerer, but it makes up for that by being fun. Now, there are some other add-on mods, so there's like a Wisdom variant patch if you want to change the spellcasting modifier from Intelligence to Wisdom. There's also some Eldritch Adept feats if you want to add in some additional Warlock features to the class. You got feats on every level or every even level, and they have a full question and answer with every single thing on the mod page, which is linked in the description. But going right into things here, the Ghostslayer is kind of like an undead style hunter, so you get the blood curse of the eyeless. When a creature within 9 meters makes an attack, you can choose to disrupt their vision and lower the attack roll by a 1d4 using your reaction on blood maledict charge there. So you subtract from the attack roll the creature makes its turn, no effect on bloodless creatures unless amplified, and no effect on targets immune to the blinded condition. The subclass feature allows you to use the additional use of the blood maledict there, and blood curses can attack any target even if they're immune to it. You also get the Rite of the Dawn of dealing additional radiant damage, which you know is good with radiating orb gear. Now, I think the Profane Soul is actually quite interesting because it's got a lot of the great things that make it. What makes the Warlock great is obviously the Eldritch Blast and Booming Blade spells. You do get their spell list there, and you get to pick an otherworldly patron here, which kind of feels like some of the subclasses. Like you got the Great Old One patron, which can give you your Mortal Reminder. You got the Hexblade, adding your proficiency bonus to the damage roll against the target. The Fiend, whenever you roll a 1 or 2 damage rate of the flame, the damage is re-rolled once. And the Archfey patron, which when you deal damage with the Crimson Rite, it becomes illuminated and cannot be visible. It's pretty cool. I like that one. For werewolf enjoyers, the Lycan is an interesting one. So you get advanced senses of a natural predator, advantage on perception checks, and in your hybrid form, which you can turn into a werewolf with this, you can apply Crimson Rites to your unarmed strikes and treat one as a weapon. What's cool is you can add the elemental damage onto your claw attacks, which is pretty fun. For 1 turn after transforming, you gain an additional bonus action you can use to apply your rights. So whenever you go into your werewolf form, you get to get a free basically charge of applying your elemental damage onto your weapon, or your claws in that case. The hybrid form, unarmed, deals a 1d6 damage. And if you fall below half health, you must make a wisdom saving throw to avoid attacking the nearest creature, so you can hurt your own teammates. And I think that's exactly what this class is about. It's like a high risk, high reward. And the mutant here, it comes with a bunch of different formulas, and I mean a bunch. So you got like the alluring here. These use these bonus actions and your mutagen charges. So this gives you advantage on charisma checks, -1 penalty and initiative. And that's what I also like about this one is, yes, you buff yourself up, but it comes with a debuff as well. Dexterity increases by 3, disadvantage on wisdom saving throws, which wisdom saving throws are very bad to have command and hold person land on you. Advantage on intelligence checks, disadvantage on wisdom. Advantage on dexterity, disadvantage on wisdom. Resistance to fire damage, prevented from burning, but vulnerable to cold damage. Resistance to cold damage, becoming chilled, and vulnerable to fire. So yeah, resistance to piercing, vulnerable to slashing. Immunity being crippled, disadvantage on strength checks. Being able to see in magical darkness 24 meters, but disadvantage on wisdom checks. This is a really good one because, again, being able to see in magical darkness is so effective. Advantage on wisdom checks, disadvantage on charisma. Strength score increases by 3, disadvantage on dexterity. Movement speed increases, disadvantage on intelligence. Intelligence increases, disadvantage on charisma. Resistance to slashing, vulnerable to bludgeoning. Resistance to bludgeoning, vulnerable to slashing. And then finally, additional use of the blood maledict, but you get disadvantage on death saving throws. So yeah, you see there, they got a lot of different choice. I'll first show off the Ghostslayer here, which comes with a few different blood curses. So the cursed creature has advantage on intimidation checks. This one here, bind an enemy, their movement speed is reduced to 0, and they're prevented from using reactions. This one here, causes the body to swell, the creature has disadvantage on strength and dexterity checks, and takes 1d8 necrotic damage for each attack it makes during the turn. This one, whenever mentioned, it lowers the attack roll by 1d4. And then this one here, curse a creature that's concentrating, that creature has disadvantage on saving throws to maintain their concentration. So yeah, you can use this as a bonus action to upset someone's concentration. Now it gets the extra attack at level 5, but as mentioned, it's probably not as strong as a fighter, because fighter gets action surge and battle master maneuvers, which are stronger than this and don't damage yourself. But now we get Hemocraft magic, so your body is empowered to control and shape Hemocraft magic using your own blood, and Vital Essence to fuel your abilities. Your Hemocrat die is a 1d6, so you can then use some different abilities. Like level 6, you get the Brand of Castigation, sear an arcane brand into a creature you attack with a Crimson Rite. Each time the branded creature deals damage to you or a nearby ally, you can retaliate, dealing damage equal to your spellcasting ability modifier. Which again is not going to be that high, probably like a +3, maybe 4 damage. So it's, again, very balanced. The Blood Curse of the Eyeless here, so this lowers the attack roll down by a 1d6. So your Blood Curses now do get powered up. So previously the attack die was a 1d4, now it's a 1d6. So yeah, it does boost up in abilities as you get stronger and higher in levels. Level 5 gives us another Crimson Rite here, which we got the Aether Walk. Magically step into the veil between 2 planes for 2 rounds. You become intangible and can cast Aether Step. So you just kind of disappear there. You can also then take a different rite. So you got the Storm, Frozen, and Flame. This is specific to the class. I like cold damage because the Snowburst Ring is in Baldur's Gate 3, which is a really powerful piece of gear. Level 8, you don't get anything. Level 9, you get the Grim Psychometry here. You get advantage on history checks, which it's something. Level 10, your movement speed increases by 1.5 meters. You add 0 to strength, dexterity, and constitution saving throws. This is meant to be your intelligence modifier, so actually getting boost to your constitution saving throws is really nice. Level 11 gives us the Hemocrat Magic. Now boosts our dice up to 1d8, so you can remove 1d8 from a target's attack rolls, which is really nice. And then the subclass feature, we get the Brand of the Sundering. Sear an arcane brand into a creature with a Crimson Rite. So whenever a branded creature deals damage to you or an ally, you can retaliate again, dealing damage equal to your spellcasting modifier. So we got like our rights here, so you can choose to power up your blade. We also got our different abilities here, so that's funny. It hurts yourself there. Blood Curse the Exposure, ignore all enemy damage resistances for 1 turn. Curse of the Marked, which will mark an enemy. It takes additional 1d8 necrotic damage from your Crimson Rite. And the Ray of the Dawn is used from this class, so this gives you radiant damage and makes your weapon glow. So this is meant to, if you're fighting against the undead, this is going to be the best choice because it gives you that additional radiant damage on your attack, which is a nice boost, especially if you have like radiating orb gears that allows you to apply radiating orbs whenever you do melee radiant damage. So yeah, the Ghostslayer is all about killing the undead, and it's pretty cool. I guess I'll do a more brief overview of the mutant because I showed off all the different abilities that it can choose from. So you get your mutagens there. You can use them to craft 1 mutagen. Each will give a buff and a debuff until long rest. The mutagens, you can create additional ones at level 7, and you can use you get additional formulas to learn. Your body will become adapt to the venoms and toxins. You gain immunity to poison damage and poison condition. Once per long rest, you can trigger a burst of adrenaline that lets you temporarily resist the negative effects of a mutagen. As a bonus action, you can ignore one of those effects for 10 turns. So again, turning off that wisdom save disadvantage is really nice. We also got level 11. You can choose an additional one here, and the Brand of the Axiom. So your Hemocraft lets you let your Brand of Castigation reveal a foe's true nature. When you deal damage to a creature that has a Crimson Rite, you seal them with a Brand of Axiom. Creatures branded this way cannot benefit from the effects of invisibility, disguise, or polymorph, so it keeps them in place. So yeah, the mutant it's interesting. It's a lot of debuffing on yourself, so this is one that you may want to play if you want to go for something a little bit more challenging. Now I'll show off the Lycan here, which again gives you that perception check advantage. You can transform yourself into your hybrid form, which is kind of an interesting ability. Once we hit level 7, we get an increase to our speed of 15 feet, and your jumping distance will be doubled. And now your hybrid form it's just updated for that at this level here. You'll just get to take another Crimson Rite again, which is pretty cool because even lightning damage is pretty effective. So when we want to turn into our hybrid form here, you have to be in combat similar to a Barbarian Rage. Then you got your Lycan hybrid here. I guess you just attack with the claws there. And then we go ahead with applying our frozen rights here, which we can then do the predatory strikes, which allows us to imbue our claws and deal a little extra damage that way. So boom, we now have the right of the frozen applied. Then we can go ahead with our predatory strikes here, slashing or bludgeoning. So you got the choice there if the target's frozen or not. So just to show you the claw attack there, looks really cool. And then you can apply that Brand of Castigation there. So each time the target deals damage to you or an ally, you retaliate, dealing your ability modifier as psychic damage. So we also got slashing, and I guess we have a follow-up attack here that we can also do. So the action version or the bonus action, so you can slash again. The cool thing about this though is, again, you can buff up your attacks with that elemental damage type, which is sweet. And here's the bludgeoning version of it, making fists instead of slashing with your hands. Kind of cool. So yeah, you get some pretty fun abilities there, and then you have also your blood curses. So yeah, it's a pretty fun one. Also, when you're enraged with your claws, you have a really funny running movement. It looks like you shit yourself. It's hilarious. And we already went over the mutant and its many mutagens there, but we're going to go over to Profane Soul finally. So again, this is kind of like a diet version of a Warlock. You get access to their spells and the powerful abilities from your patron. You then at level 5 can learn another spell. And the thing is, the spell casting, you don't get full spell casting with this like a Warlock would, because you have all your other abilities that you get from the subclass. And again, you get all those blood curses as well. So yeah, it's very well balanced, and it's actually probably a little bit on the weaker side, but that's a good thing. You don't need an overpowered class to enjoy this game. It has some fun abilities that make it an enjoyable playthrough. So the Mystic Frenzy here, so after you cast a cantrip, you can make a weapon attack using a bonus action. That's pretty cool, kind of like war magic. And then you also get the Revealed Arcana. Your patron grants you the use of a distinctive spell based on your pact. And then you also get choice of things like Shadow Blade, Whole Person, Darkness, Misty Step, and Mirror Image, which are all great spells. And level 9, you get to take one more of those spells, so you can kind of round that off. Level 10 gives us the basically add the intelligence modifier to that there. And again, you get to choose another cantrip and a blood curse. And level 11 gives the final features, the Brand of the Sapping Scar. So you sear an arcane brand into a creature you attack with a Crimson Rite. Each time you attack the branded creature, you basically do your damage equal to your spellcasting ability modifier to it. So pretty nice. And you get to take another spell here. And boom, now at level 12, we have 2 level 2 Warlock spell slots, refreshing on short rest. So you can mix this with a Warlock. It's covered in the class mod. If the spells, they don't have the same spell casting ability. So basically, if you were to take, like, let's say 10 levels of the Warlock, you'd get level 5 Warlock spell slots, and then also these 2 level 2 spell slots. They don't really technically combine, but they kind of do. If you had, let's say, 2 level 2 Warlock spell slots and 2 of these ones, they'd actually combine into 4. So that's how that works. But yeah, you get the ability to add that 1d8 of cold damage to your attacks, which is nice because that allows you to do 2 attacks, and cold damage is pretty strong in this game. You have that Armor of Agathis there, and also Eldritch Blast, which is cool because you can do an Eldritch Blast into a bonus action attack. You got Shadow Blade, which is obviously extremely powerful, but you can't get the higher leveled version of it. Yeah, you got some really fun abilities here, and I'm glad that we got the Blood Hunter class mod here. There are some slight changes from it in tabletop, but again, it's not meant to be overpowered. It's actually meant to be a very balanced but fun experience. Whenever I say balance, I mean that you can still easily do a lot of crazy things with builds in Baldur's Gate 3. Just because a class mod's not overpowered like a lot of the other ones doesn't mean it's a bad time. It's actually better for these classes to be a bit on the underpowered side so that you get go through the game and you get to enjoy things a little bit differently and think about how to strategize with the class's abilities. So I actually really like this, and I'm glad it's now here thanks to LemonsSoup and their hard work putting this all together. And yeah, this is their first mod too, so incredible to see this. So Blood Hunter now available on console. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below. Let me know if you want to see a build guide too. I may do one in the future. Let me know what subclass you'd like to see covered, and we'll catch y'all in the next video.